Here at the 2019 American Radio Relay League Nashua Area Radio Club Field Day event here at the Hudson Memorial School. Field Day is the largest amateur radio event held in the United States and Canada every year, and it's held always on the fourth weekend in June. The purpose of Field Day is to allow amateur radio operators of all types to sharpen their skills when preparing for natural disasters and emergencies, which means setting up antennas, setting up radio equipment, and getting set to operate in an emergency communication mode, providing emergency communications for whatever, whenever, for as long as it's needed when other means of communications fail. We're here with another member of the Nashua Area Radio Society and a longtime member of the Radio Society. His name is Sterling Eanes. His amateur radio call, for those that are interested, is AK1K. And Sterling has a very important job during this field day. And why don't you tell folks what your job is at field day?
Okay. Well, one of the things that we do here is practice all sorts of amateur radio activities. And in particular, one of the things that we do as amateur radio operators is handle messages. We pass messages especially for support of the Red Cross and all in emergencies. So we're doing an exercise about that where we'll pass some, we've generated a few messages here and we'll pass them amongst different club members from here outside our field day site and back again as sort of practice in doing that kind of message passing.
You've been a member of this club since 1973?
Yeah, 1973 was when I first joined and did the first field day.
How has amateur radio and field day changed over the years since you were first licensed?
Well, quite a bit. It's as the internet got there, it changed the emphasis. But for field day, it's very dramatic. I mean, we used to build towers by hauling them up. Someone would climb up to the top and haul up the next section. But now they've got a much slicker system here where they put up the whole tower all at once. And that's been the most dramatic field day change that I've seen.
And if I remember correctly, when I was first licensed and first into the Amateur Radio Club in Nashua, you used to run a thing called Tower School, and you weren't allowed to climb a tower until you graduated Sterling Eanes Tower School, correct?
Right. Yeah, we wanted to make sure everybody's safe doing the job. So when we had people climbing the towers, we wanted to make sure they knew how to do it safely. So we ran the school.
And I should point out, too, that safety is a number one priority during field day, because when there is a natural disaster, I mean, we wouldn't be setting up antenna towers, but we'd setting up wire antennas and so forth. But safety is a priority one, and if it's not safe, don't do it, because you can get severely injured, and we try to avoid that at all costs all the time. We're here with one of the newest members of the Nashua Area Radio Society. His name is Jeff. He's been licensed since when?
November.
What got you into amateur radio in the first place?
Free time. I've been in electronics since I was a child. I've been built some transmitters, but I was afraid of the code requirement, which, as you know, no longer exists, and I had the time. And I took a look at one of the study guides, and I went from all three classes in a month, all three levels.
You hold the license class of extra, correct?
Correct.
What do you find rewarding about amateur radio?
It's a license to experiment. As I said, I've been an electronics hobbyist, and the idea of being able to experiment with radios and transmitters and propagation that I couldn't do without the license is very appealing.
And this is your very first field day, correct?
Correct. Yes, it is.
Are you going to be one of the operators doing one of the stations here, one of the 11 stations that we have in operation this year?
I think so at some point. I'm also just having fun learning because it is my first field day.
Well, good luck in your endeavors here at Field Day, and we wish you well throughout the organization. And thanks for coming out and talking to us today.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're here at the information tent here at the Nashua Area Radio Society's Field Day event at the Hudson Memorial School. And one of the pieces of equipment that is very useful in emergency communications, it's called a Go Box. Now the Go Box weighs probably about 70 pounds, but inside this Go Box is everything you need to set up an emergency communication station. There's a radio, there's a battery, there's an antenna, there's all kinds of other equipment that goes with it. It's a fused box, and if it's needed, it's called a Go Box because if you're told to go somewhere and there's a natural emergency, you grab the Go Box and go. And then it takes very little time to set up, and like I said, it's run by battery. So if you have to, if you run out of electricity, let's say, and you can actually use the battery for backup and still stay on the air and provide the necessary communications that's needed. And like I said, for as long as it's needed, wherever it's needed, and it's so much easier. But it's a kit that you put together yourself. You can use any type of radio pretty much. Most of them use a small little FM radio like this, and it's all controlled. You have equipment that keeps the antenna intact, so you're not overloading the antenna so it'll work properly. We're here with Anita Kemmerer, and she's the membership chairman of the Nashua Area Radio Society, and we're back here at the information tent. And Anita knows a lot more about the Go Kit than I do, and she's here to tell us what's going on, what all this equipment is. I said it's equipment in a box, but she knows more.
Okay, so this is a Go Kit, so it's, we can just pick it up and take it with us. We use this a lot for training. It also could be used in emergencies. We've got a 70 centimeter and 2 meter radio transceiver up here. So this can talk to repeaters or, and it uses that antenna out there. Right now it's connected to something called APRS, which is, actually shows you, some hams have a radio in their car and it transmits your position. Most of the radios have a GPS, so we can see, all these call signs are different amateurs that are either driving around or walking around or have a weather station at their house. And it's useful like in parades kind of events where you have a team of people and you know exactly where somebody is in case of an emergency. We recently launched a high altitude balloon working with a bunch of school kids, and we use this to track the balloon. We can see exactly where it is on the map because it's also transmitting to us via amateur radio.
We're here at one of the tents at Field Day over at the Hudson Memorial School. We're currently in the satellite tent, and in operation right now is our club president, Fred Kemmerer, as he is trying to make contacts through a satellite communications. Let's listen in.
CQ Field Day, November 1, Foxtrot Delta. CQ Field Day, November 1, Foxtrot Delta.
And he's busy tracking a satellite right now that is coming
CQ Field Day, November
computer.
1, Fox Delta.
And the computer controls the actual antenna that's out here in the field.
Kilo 4 Lima Kilo 4 Lima Kilo Lima. This is November 1 Fox Delta. We're 11 Alpha November Hotel. 11A November Hotel. QSL. Kilo 4 Lima Kilo Lima. November 1 Fox Delta. We're 11 Alpha November Hotel. QSL. Field Day, CQ Field Day, November 1, Fox Delta.
Back again, we are at the Hudson Memorial School for Field Day 2019 with the Nashua Area Radio Societies, and we said we mentor students, and we have a lot of kids involved in amateur radio, and we happen to have one of those kids right here. His name is Ryan, and how are you doing today, Ryan?
I'm doing good.
This is your first field day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is my first field day, and I'm very excited.
Do you have a favorite that you're going to be operating later?
Yeah, I want to learn digital, but my favorite so far is single sideband.
Oh, very good. How long have you been licensed now?
Since September.
Since September. Now, do you have a setup at home?
Not really. I have this.
I'd like you to tell the folks a story about how he got this radio, and it's quite a story because we have people that, we have people in the club that are very giving and very thoughtful of other people, and Ryan is one of those persons that deserved what he got. So tell him how you got that.
So after I did my technician class, they had a raffle, and I won a general book, and a very nice lady named Joyce won this radio. And when she got home, her husband, who had already been in ham radio for a long time, said that she didn't need the radio. So she gave me this radio, and it helped me make so many contacts, and I'm so thankful for it.
Ryan, thank you very much for coming out. And you got to look at his shirt. His shirt is definitely, it caught my eye, and I just said, it's the funniest shirt I've ever seen. And I just... Thank you, Ryan. Enjoy Field Day to you first time. Thanks, Ryan. We're here with Abby from one of the other younger members of the Nashua Area Radio Society, but she's not only a member, but she's very much involved in youth and contesting. She's a big contester and wins a lot of awards. And why don't you tell people just some of the awards that you have won yourself by being an amateur?
Well, I've participated in the North American QSO Party, which I was one of the top 25 or so, so that was interesting. And I've also enjoyed operating the 13 colonies and, of course, Field Day every year. They're just the best things that you can participate in.
And she's also one of the teachers of the courses that we teach here at the Nashua Area Radio Society. And you have been licensed for how long?
About 3 years. I've been licensed since March 2016. So, and I've upgraded since then, and now I'm an extra class license.
So she's very smart, and she loves doing content. She's very good at what she does, and she's a very good mentor for other students to help them get associated with amateur radio, get involved in amateur radio. So it's really nice to have her as one of the team members of the Nashua Area Radio Society. Thank you very much, Abby.
Thank you.
We're here with the Vice President of the Nashua Area Radio Society. His name is Dave Merchant. And Dave, what got you into ham radio, and tell us what your involvement is here at Field Day 2019.
Yeah, well, amateur radio is a way for me to kind of stay connected to my roots. I went to school for electrical engineering, and then I promptly got into sales. And so in order to really keep up to speed on technology, I've tried to really stay involved in amateur radio. My involvement here for the past 3 years, I've been one of the co-chairmen to organize the whole event and make sure that we have all the appropriate equipment on site and a plan to basically get as many points as possible, as well as draw on as many folks from the public to get them educated on how to operate if they're interested, or how to set up a station, or just to learn in general about amateur radio.
And how long have you been an amateur radio operator?
I've been an amateur radio operator about 17 years now, so it's been quite some time.
Do you have a favorite? I know there's different aspects now of amateur radio, such as there's digital now, and computers have come into play to that. We have a satellite operation going on here. Do you have a particular favorite band or a particular type of amateur radio you like?
Well, the great thing about amateur radio is there's really something for everyone, and I enjoy a lot of different aspects of the hobby. One thing I enjoy is station building, but in terms of operating, it really, I think, depends on what antennas you have the most effective operation on. For me, it's 20 meters, and I probably spend quite a bit of time there, both on voice and digital modes.
And our club is very big on mentoring students and educating them on the aspects of amateur radio. How would you approach somebody that comes to you and says, I'd like to know more about amateur radio? How do I get started, or what is amateur radio?
Yeah, the most important thing you can do if you're interested in this sort of thing is to get active in your local club. This particular club, the Nashua Area Radio Society, won Amateur Club of the Year internationally last month, and that's out of several thousand clubs that are out there. So we're very fortunate living in this area, having this particular club available. It's very active. There's something every week that's going on, from regular club meetings to technology sessions to hiking events where you go and set up a station on the top of a mountain somewhere, fox hunting. So lots of different types of activities, not only for adults but also for kids. And we've got a fair number of members that are younger than 16, and we try to tailor some of the activities specifically to them.
It's always fun to see a smile on a kid's face when he says, look, Daddy, it worked, when they build a kit or when they made their first contact. It's quite exciting for them and for us.
It is, yeah. And the nice thing about this particular event is, we do get a fair number of kids that get on the air for the first time, and we're hoping that we can maybe spark a little bit of interest in STEM, and maybe that takes them in a different direction. There's been a number of kids that maybe weren't really excelling in math, and then once they've gotten involved in radio, they've been able to apply some of those concepts into real-world theories, and it's caused them to be better academically and to pursue a career in STEM. So,
great. Well, thanks for talking to us, Dave, and much success in the contest today.
Great, John. Thank you very much. All right.
November 1, Foxtrot Delta.
November 4, Echo Hotel. November 1, Foxtrot Delta. Echo Hotel, here is November 1, Fox Delta. November 1, Fox Delta.
Alpha Charlie 0, Echo Charlie.
Fox Delta Hotel, here is November 1, Fox Delta. November 1, Fox Delta.
QSL 11
Fox
Alpha
Delta.
New Hampshire.
Fox Delta. Fox Delta.
QSL, good luck at Field Day.
November 4, Echo Hotel. November 1, Foxtrot Delta. November 1, Foxtrot Delta. W8TIF, this is November 1, Fox Delta. November 1, Fox Delta. W8TIF, November 1, Fox Delta. This is November 1, Fox Delta, November 1, Fox Delta, 11 Alpha, New Hampshire. 11 Alpha, New Hampshire, go ahead.
Check that code.
QSL, this is November 1, Fox Delta, 11 Alpha, New Hampshire. 11 Alpha, New Hampshire. QSL? Thank you, 7-3.
We are currently at the CW tent, which actually means Morse code, and we have with us Dennis Morandos, who's one of the best CW operators that the club has, and he is a CW geek, if you mind me saying that. And Dennis, tell us how you got involved in amateur radio and how you got involved in CW.
I have to say that this is I don't know if I'm the master of CW, but I do like talking with my fingers, and that's what CW is. It stands for continuous wave, and I don't know if you can read this, but this is the first digital communications on and off. Okay, I got interested when I was 11 years old. I got my license at 12 years old, and it has not stopped. This is my anniversary month, and I've got to tell you that I have been licensed for 60 years. 60 years. And honest to goodness, I don't know where it went. It has just flashed by me. And every day I wake up and I say, hallelujah, amateur radio is just a lot of fun.
Now, you have been, how many field days have you been? You've been a member of the Nashua Radio Club for how long?
Oh my goodness, in the early 70s, when we had several people who left the Nashua Red Cross building and we started up in the Nashua Public Library. I'd have to say it's over 25 years.
Now, you know a lot about what the original name of the club was called. It was originally called the Nashua Mic and Key Club, correct?
This is correct. Back in I don't want to date myself too much, but I got licensed in 1959, and the local club in Nashua at that time was called the Nashua Mic and Key Club, and that was in South Nashua. I think it was on Hobart Street. It's no longer there. Of course, it's progress has taken over, and newer and better buildings are there. But there were probably 15 to 20 people in Nashua, and that was the entire club. That goes back a few years.
Mm-hmm. And then when did it become the Nashua Area Radio Club?
The Nashua Mic and Key Club stopped because they had a little problems with the neighborhood. They didn't particularly like the old building, so everybody sort of drifted away. And it then came back into existence in the late 60s. 1968, 69, and eventually in the early 70s, I don't know the exact year, we started meeting at the Nashua Red Cross building, and that soon became very crowded. And then we went from Nashua Red Cross to the Nashua Public Library, and it has grown immensely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a fun time.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of favorite incident, any favorite contact, or one that you have made that stands out amongst all the ones that you've done?
I have a couple of stories. And first of all, to my former students who were at Nashua South, who remember me as your English teacher, thank you very much. I did teach at Nashua High for almost 20 years, and then I moved off to industry, and I finished my career as a professor at Daniel Webster College. Okay, here's one story that, don't repeat this to anybody, but when I was in junior high school, Peter, K1 MOZ, and I both got our licenses in the same time, and we just simply had the same classes in junior high, and we loved Morse code. And he sat in front of me in math class. Now, don't repeat this, but I used to stretch my foot out and I used to tap his ankle, number 3, and he would tap back the answers. Well, you can be sure that was the secret code. Only we two knew what was going on. That's a kind of a favorite story, but I wouldn't tell anybody that. The other favorite story is when I first got my license, I asked my neighbor if I could put an antenna up in his tree. And he said, sure, you can use it as often, as many times as you want. 20 years later, I found out it wasn't his.
That's great. Well, Dennis, thanks for talking to us today and being a part of Field Day here at Hudson Memorial School. And you're very good at it, and I wish you a lot of contacts today.
You know, this is a one-time event. It's an emergency event, supposedly, that if anything ever happened where they needed a first on-the-scene contacts, amateur radio is there. They're the first people to make contact, and then the professionals come in. That's why we're called amateur. And we are the people who set it up in 24 hours. And then from there, we let the big boys take over. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you, Dennis, very much for talking to us today. Thanks, Dennis Miranda's, everybody. We're here with another member of the Nashua Area Radio Society. His name is Tony, and Tony's job is the safety officer during Field Day. And Tony's going to tell us what the job is of a safety officer. And welcome, Tony. And what is your participation in Field Day?
Okay, so the job of a safety officer is to make sure that everything's done in a safe manner. You see here we have
4 towers and one 60-meter tower. When you put them up, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. They can fall over. So one of my jobs is to make sure that when they get put up, that people aren't in the area without a hard hat. People are paying attention to what they're doing, so nobody's sitting there on, talking on their cell phone. And, just basically to make sure that things are broken off so people can't get in there and get in trouble. Because if you notice, there's the yellow tape here. The yellow tape is in the fall zone for the tower. So what we figure out is that tower's 40 feet. It can fall 40 feet, and you want to make sure nobody's in that zone in case that does happen. And as long as I've been here, that's never happened. They really guide very well. So that's one of the jobs. The other one, is to make sure that people operate in a safe manner. Joe, who's the other one, actually made the call. We had a lightning strike close by, so we shut everything down just to make sure nobody gets hurt by it. So that's kind of what the safety officer is responsible for. Just making sure the generators are off limits to people that shouldn't have access to them and stuff like that.
How long have you been a ham and a member of the Nashua Radio Club?
I have been a ham for 4.5 years now, and a member of the club since then. I got my first license. They had a course then, and it was a week long, or it was actually not a week long. It was almost a month long because it was a week every month. And I ended up getting my technician then, and then I went on and got general a month later, and then extra a month after that. So I decided to go all as far as I could, just because it's a neat hobby. Like you can talk to people in Europe, you can talk to people all over the world, and it's interesting to get their perspective on things.
Do you remember your first contact you did when you first got your license?
I do. It was a guy in, I believe it was Czechoslovakia. I don't remember his call sign, but I remember the contact. It's like, wow, I can reach Czechoslovakia, and all I'm doing is 100 watts. And it was like, I'm putting up the antennas. It's a lot of fun. That's what I like. I've actually built my own 80-meter antenna now, so I have that. And it's a fun hobby, and a lot of the joy I get out of the hobby is more of teaching other people the hobby. So I'm actually involved. We do an education program. We're going to do courses at Hudson for middle school and high school kids, and I'll probably be involved in that. And it's mostly bringing new hams into the field, especially younger hams, because I think they add a lot of energy. A lot of energy, and sometimes it's a hard sell on them. But once you get them hooked, they get really interested on them. And I was actually surprised that a lot of them want to learn CW. I think it's so they can tap it out on their desk so the teacher doesn't know what they're saying, but I don't know.
The teacher crazy, yes.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly. So I just find a lot of fun in the training and stuff.
Well, great. We wish you well, and thank you very much for talking to us this afternoon.
Realize that you're new. They may say, "Oh, I've already talked with you," because they've already talked to that call sign. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen. I'll tune it. We'll find a signal. We're going to listen for their call sign. We're going to enter their call sign in this field here, and that'll tell us if we've heard them or not.
Oh, okay.
Right? And if it doesn't show up as a dude, then we can work. Right? So the script that we're going to operate under is here.
Don't stop between
So
yet.
they'll be saying CQ Field Day, and they'll give it, identify themselves. And when we decide that we're going to respond to them, you're going to respond by saying Kilo 1 Delta Lima Mike. So that's K1 DLM. That's this station.
Okay.
Right? They'll come back and they'll say Kilo 1 Delta Lima Mike, and they'll give their station class and their section. Whiskey 2 London Victoria, W2LV.
W2LV.
Nice. So it's not a dupe. So now you can respond.
And it's CQ Field Day?
No, you respond by saying Kilo 1 Delta Lima Mike.
This one right here?
Yeah, and hold it pretty close to your mouth.
Kilo 1 Delta Lima Mike. Oops, sorry.
Do it again.
Kilo 1 Delta Lima Mike.
Delta Lima Mike.
Oh, Delta Lima Mike. Like that.
Close to your mouth.
Kilo 1 Delta Lima Mike.
Yeah, keep it close.
Delta Lima Mike, thank you for the correction. Please comment 3 Alpha, Nancy Juliet.
Put 3A. And then put tab again.
Kilo 1 Delta Lima Mike, please copy 3 Alpha, Nancy Juliet. How copy?
Ask for the section again.
What was the section again?
Okay, Nancy Juliet, Northern New Jersey, Northern.
Okay, NNJ.
NAJ?
Yeah. NNJ.
Oh, NNJ. Got it.
Okay, so now you press the button and you say
AB1.
Whiskey 2 Lima Victor. Whiskey 2 Lima Victor.
Whiskey 2 Lima Victor. UR 11 Alpha November Hotel.
Okay.
Okay, 11. I'm sorry. What was your
Say 11 Alpha November Hotel again.
11 Alpha November Hotel.
November Hotel. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Have a great day. This is Whiskey 2, London Victoria. Whiskey 2.
Oh, that's so cool.
All right, so you got it. You made a QSO.
Awesome.
Nice.
Oh,
All right.
that was so cool. Wow.
Okay, so that's northern New Jersey, which is, today, this time of day, 80 meters.
We'd like to say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your tour of Nashua Area Radio Club's Field Day site here at the Hudson Memorial School. It just goes to show you how much fun amateur radio really is, and hope you'll check out our website at n1fd.org. Our meetings are held the first Tuesday of every month at the First Church in Nashua. They start at 6:30 with a meet and greet, and we have a meeting, and we hope to see you soon. If you have any more information, go to our website, n1fd.org. And thank you from Field Day 2019 from the Nashua Area Radio Club.